Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to issue 79 all the way up to issue 82 of Build the Iron Man Mark III. So welcome back everyone. It's been about a month or so since I did the last video. I have been holding out for the next delivery, hoping that it would come before I made this one, but unfortunately it's taken a bit longer. It is due any day now, like I say in every video, but sometimes takes longer, like I said. That will take me up to issue 86, by the way, when I get that delivery. But today we're working on issue 79 to 82, like I said. We are also working on the 10th stage of the main base as well, so I've got a few bits there to do which are quite interesting because we've actually got some lights and whatnot, so going to be connecting those up to the base at the end of this video. So obviously you've been working on just a few components today. We've got a few new pieces for the back of the body, for the armour, which is interesting, but it doesn't look like I've got much to do, to be honest. I think it's going to be a fast video. Fingers crossed there's going to be no delays. But anyway, let's get cracking. Right, so issue 79 and 80, starting issue 70. So first of all, we've got this shoulder plate for the left armour. We've got our left shoulder joint ball. We've got a little friction block there. And then we have the shoulder casing and also the socket. And then lastly, you've got the neck joint there. So there's those parts there. For the screws, you need some LP 2x5mm, EM 1.7x4, QP 2.3x8, and IM 2x5mm. For issue 80, there's literally just an inner breastplate support. So that is it, just one piece of plastic. And obviously that's going to be connected up to the chest area inside. So we're working on that. And just for that, all you need is some HM 2x4mm screws. So let's get started. So sorry, I forgot to mention, you also need the final assembly from stage 78, obviously we worked on previously. So because now we're going to be working on connecting those parts to the other side of this, just to replicate that, because obviously that's going to go, well, it's going to be, you know, connecting up the arms and shoulders. So all you're going to do is you're going to take component 79A, which is this one here, and you're going to pop it on the end, facing outwards, because obviously we need to have access to those screw holes. So I'm just going to pop that on like so, and then once I've done that, I'm going to secure it with QP screws. So all I do is use one screw and I'm going to pop the cap over that at the end. So, okay, so I've got my screw in there. I'm just screw that in, and once that's done, like I said, just going to pop that cap on the friction block, sorry, which is component 79C. Like so. Okay, now we're going to take component 79B and the joint ball, and all you're going to do is you're going to thread it through. So the outer part, sorry, this part here, I'm going to thread through. So we want to see the ball going through like so. And then once we've done that, we're going to connect it up to that friction block. And to secure that, you just want to use some LP screws, so you need 3 of those. So I'm just going to get the first one in, and then I will do the other 2 off camera. You don't need to see that, nothing special, just connecting it up. So we have a nice strong sealed unit. So just partially get that first one in, and then I can line up the other 2. So that's the first one in, I'm just going to do the other 2 now. Okay, so that's how it's looking now. They've both obviously been attached to either side. So for the next section, you're actually going to take off the top part of this component. So, because otherwise you can't get the arm here through it. So I need to unscrew it and obviously pop the screws safely to one side, which are LP screws, by the way. So all I'm doing is just taking the top off, and that's going to allow me to put that arm into place, which you'll see shortly. It says to position it correctly, the shoulder joint should move downwards on the base. So let's see if I get this right. So we're going to thread that through, line it up with the pegs. There we go, ignore that part. For now, all you're going to do is pop it back over once it's been put into place, and that's obviously going to allow you to screw it back into place. So let's just get that threaded on, and then I'm just going to put the LP screws back into place to seal that unit in. So you can see that that's closed up. All I want to do is grab those screws and secure it, and then we can move on to the next step. So I'll just do one, and then we'll skip ahead to the next stage, because again I don't want to bore you with this part. It's nothing too important. Okay, so we're now on stage 3, which is assembly of the supports for the shoulder armour. So they are these pieces here, and obviously they're both marked right and left, so you should be able to work out what side they go on from looking at it facing on to you. So obviously this is my left and your right, and so on. So what you do is you actually position them onto the ends there, so of what we just worked on. So we just need my EM screws, like I said, to fix these into place. So let's just get the screws ready, and then we will fix them on. So you just need one, I believe, no, sorry, you need 2 EM screws for each side. I'm just going to double check where the actual screw holes are on the side of this chest piece. So let's have a look. So you can see, let's see if you can see on the camera or not. So inside there, just on these parts here, you can see, just see that hole there. There's 2, so that's where they're going to be going. So just going to check which one's this. Is it the right one? So let's do the right one first. And you know, there's only one way of putting it on to make sure those screw holes actually go where they're meant to from the cap. So just double check and get that right. So you can see, just spin it around again, just moving it around the screw holes. So okay, that wasn't meant to happen, but we'll go back to it. So that's how it sits in there, and you just secure it with the screws. So let me just pop this back on. Okay, so I'm just securing the final screw on the right hand side, and then I'll show you how they look from either side. I don't know why we had to take off that top cap, top part of the box, by the way, because as you saw, it fell off during the filming, and I just slid it back onto those pegs without having to take the top part off. So completely unnecessary, unless I've missed something. So that's how it looks on both sides there with those on. So now the last piece is the assembly of the neck joint, and so we saved the best for last, that little piece there. That is a very important section, and that section will be going on the top. So it's actually going to sit in this groove here. So if you can see there, so it's just going to sit there. So I'm just double checking in the photo how it's going to sit on there so I get it right. Just slides on, I believe. And that's it. So look, all I've done is just slide it on, and we are good to go. So I'm checking from the photo, yeah, it should be pointing upwards, so that's how you want it to be looking from your perspective, if you can see there. Just get a little bit closer. And that is that issue complete. Okay, so step 1 of 1 for issue 80. I'm just going to take the arc reactor out because obviously it's not meant to be in there yet. It's not actually secured, just so you can see. It's still working, guys. So we're going to flip this round. At the bottom, this will be sitting in there. So it's literally, we just pop it in, secure it with 2 screws, which are HM screws, and then we are good to go. So let's just double check from the photo how I want it to look. Let's see if I got that right. So it's going to slide down like that, I believe. Yep. So just slots in like that. See if I can do it again without dropping it. So it's always easier for me to do it facing me rather than your perspective. So there you go. So that slid in there, and then we're just going to secure it at the bottom. So I've got my HM screw somewhere, and then we are done. Like I said, not a great deal to do for issue 80. It's one step, but nonetheless, this is an important section, and it's coming together nicely. It's definitely getting a lot bigger, a lot heavier, and a lot more force. So it's really cool because I'm getting excited now. So we are coming to the end of this build. Very, very close to the end of it. So we're going to be in the 90s by December. And as you know, there's only 100 issues left. Sorry, 100 in total if you don't do the battle armoured ones, which I'm not. I want a nice crisp looking Iron Man, and he can weather over time naturally. So there we go. That's how it looks from the back, and that's how it's looking from the front. And that is issue 80 complete. Okay, so issue 81, step 1 of 1 again. So this is the back plate, and it's a nice heavy piece of section for the build. So it's nice good quality and really heavy. So all we're going to do is actually put on these details. So these are the finishing details at the top, which will be visible when the shoulder stabilizers are lifted up on the chest at the front. So all you're going to do is, obviously they're both marked by the way, left and right, so you're just going to look for which one is which, and then you pop them on. So I'm just double checking how they sit on. So they sit on at the bottom there. So show you this one here on camera, just like so. So they're nice little finishing details. From the other side there are some screw holes, and we need our IP screws, so just one of each for each one, and then we just secure it. And that's it, as simple as that. So it's, like I said, not a great deal to do, but this is the beginning stage of a new section, which is great. It's great. So let's just come off. It's great to have, obviously, a new section to work on. So okay, so I've done the first one, just doing the second one now for you, and then I'll show you how it looks. Just double check the other one. Okay, so that's how it looks, and that is issue 81 complete. So let's move on to issue 82. Okay, so issue 82, the final issue for today, and stage 1, which is assembly of the connector spring. So this might be a little bit fiddly. I'm hoping it's not going to be, but we shall see how we get on. So we're going to put the spring, the torsion spring, into the side of the angled part of this section. So you're just going to pop that in. I'm just going to show you, pop that in. So it just sits in like so. Obviously at the moment it's not going to stay in there because it needs to be connected. Next up, take the component 82A, and what you're going to do, it wants you to insert the pin shaft straight through it. So just double checking from the photo where we want it. So just going to slide through there, and I believe it's going all the way, or maybe just in one section only for the moment. So just like that for now. So this is the tricky part, like I mentioned. There is another hole on component 82B, so it's just above with the spring, and you've got to slide this through like so, whilst not letting the spring come out, and push that bolt through the other hole. Or I believe it's actually going through the spring, so it's actually going for the spring. So this is, like I said, the tricky part, because it's easy to push it out, and it's hard to get the alignment. So these are the ones that I actually hate. As you can see, it's already popped out. So bear with me. I'll do my best to do it on camera, but if I really struggle, guys, rather than break it or get annoyed, I'll have to do it off camera just to make sure that I've done it right and I don't break it, because these parts are very fragile. Okay, so unfortunately, guys, I had to do it off camera because it was an absolute pain in the arse. That's how it's looking. So it was just, you know, trying to get that pin through that spring and hole all at the same time. It just wasn't working, but this is how it should be looking, how it moves. So if it's not doing that, sitting in this way, that part up, that part down, you've done it wrong. So the final stage is going to be assembly of the button in the chest. So we're going to flip it around and you will see, obviously there's a hole there. So that is where component 82C is going to sit. So we're going to pop that through. So we'll look how it goes. Okay, and then I'm going to pop on those two springs we had, wherever they are. So we've got two springs there. So those springs are going to go over the pegs, like so. See that? Okay, then once you've done that, you're going to take, obviously, stage one, we've just worked on, so this annoying thing, and you're going to slide it over that, making sure the springs don't move. Place the mechanism on top of them. So it's number 2 pegs. Okay, so let's see if we can get that right. Let's double check how it looks in the picture. So let me spin that around so it's facing me for a sec. And then I'm just going to ensure that's how it should look. Yep, so let's try and line these up correctly the first time. I think this is going to be harder than it looks again. Okay, so I managed to get those pegs on those springs. And now, with obviously great difficulty, by the way, that was fiddly as hell. And now I'm just being very careful because obviously the springs are trying to push back on me. So I've got to get these screws in quickly so it doesn't come out of place. And then we are done, finally, for today. So just 2 of the issues took a long time. The other 2 didn't. So it's 50-50. It's taken longer than I anticipated. As a result, because these fiddly bits, but nonetheless we are done. I'm just going to show you the finished product, and then we're going to move on to the base for that section I need to add on for the lights, and then we are done for today. So that's that. That's how it's looking for issue 82. Obviously there should still be some movement there. And that is that issue complete. Okay, last but not least, we have the parts received with delivery 10 of the base. So we've got 2 base segments here. This is what's going to seal in all the electrics and the other bits and bobs you don't want to see at the bottom of the base. We've got 2 base end caps here. In terms of screws, we've got some JM screws, which are 1.7 x 5mm, some LP 2 x 5, and also IM 2 x 5mm. We've got some L.A.D strips as well here. So we've got 10 of those, I believe, or I think it's just 10C, whatever it says. And then also some adhesive tape, so double-sided, so that's going to be sticking onto the bases. So let's get cracking for stage 1. What you can do first of all, you're going to take one of your base segments, and you'll see here, if you can see that, there is a section here, 2 grooves. You're going to put that tape, one of those adhesive tapes, in there. So I'm just going to peel it off, and then put the strip down in the area it wants me to. Okay, so let's pop that down. Okay, and then once you've done that, take away that extra paper protector, so I can then put one of the L.A.D strips onto there. So in the picture it says to make sure that you position it, so we're going to be having it facing this way with that circular section there, so the actual wire is hanging out to the right. So make sure you place it in that manner as it has instructed you to do so. And you have to do that for both of them. Just pop that on there. Just hold it down so it sticks. Like so. So I'm just going to do the other one off camera and then I'll show you the next stage. Okay, now we've done that, you can see I've brought the base here. On top there are 2 holes, and in the picture it's showing that you're going to be putting the base segments nearest to those holes. So there's 2, so I'm going to start just from this one here. I guess it doesn't really matter so much. So you'll see there are 2 screw holes either side on the top there, and obviously all we need to do is to pop that through like so, like hang it over the edge, and then we can secure it into place. You're just going to use 2 JM screws for that to hold them down. So there'll be one here. Let's move this around a bit. So there'll be one there and one there. That's all you need to do for that part. So nice and simple. So just do the first one, and then again I'll go off camera for the other one because you don't need to see both of them. And then this is the last stage. Well, there's only 2 stages, but there's 2 more parts, two more bits to do for this before we're finished. So just gonna get that in place. Do the other one, and then I'll switch. But yeah, it's definitely taking some more shape now. This base looking a bit more serious, like it's gonna be strong and really highlight it well. Okay, once you've done that, that's how it should be looking. So you've got those 2 on there. We're going to flip the base round, and then we're going to, so I want to face the circuit board so it's looking upright. You see I've got my battery part missing. The reason why is because I had to order a replacement, which I'm still waiting for. So don't worry if you watch this and thinking, oh, where's his battery unit and whatnot and casing. So that's the reason. Anyway, what you're going to do, so we're going to look directly above this, and we're actually going to slot them on to 2 sections that we choose. So you'll see there are some peg holes. So I'm going to pop them on. Just double check. Actually, so as I've just checked, I do actually need the battery casing and all that area there for these to go on. So I'm not going to finish filming this section for today because I can't, because as I told you in the previous video, there was a manufacturing issue, there wasn't any holes. So all I'll be doing when I finish is actually putting these sections on, wiring up the wires to the circuit board with G and H, which would be there, and that's it. So that's actually complete for today, and we will continue on the next one. So that's it for today's episodes. Obviously we've worked through up to 82 and we've got some nice new pieces added on. So that's all the issues up to 82 complete. We've nearly done part 10 of the base. Obviously, like I mentioned, I couldn't finish it because of missing that faulty part from the previous issue on number 9 for the base. So as soon as I get that in my next issue, delivery, sorry, I will complete that, guys, for you, and then you can see what's taking shape with the part 11. Next delivery takes me up to 86, so we're edging ever closer to the 90s. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we will be closing on the 100 mark towards the end of the year. Really excited for that. A bit more fiddly today than I anticipated, particularly issue 82. That was the one that caused me the problems. Don't know about you other guys, but for me, very fiddly. Little pieces, not really ideal for bigger hands, but we got there in the end and it's complete. I'm happy with how it looks. Remember, if you did like today's video, guys, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you all soon.